Start him, set him for week 10. What you got there, Coach Bully?
Okay, well, we like to start with the quarterbacks. Start them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Jared Goff this week against Washington. We saw how Sam Darnold picked him apart, and Detroit has just as good as an offense. Washington is 30th against quarterbacks. I think the matchup is pretty favorable. This could be a guy that you may have a quarterback similar fantasy talent, should we say? But I think Goff could take the edge on this week. On the reverse side, first against quarterbacks, I would sit Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville is, I know they're getting away with winning games, but as far as fantasy goes, they haven't looked just complete yet. I know they traded for Jacoby Myers, but Travis Hunter's injured, so they still have some gelling to do, and Houston's defense is still pretty good. I would maybe stay away from that one.
Yeah, well, not only that, but Brian Thomas Jr. is also out.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Injury
so,
update. Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho. All right. So my stardom of the week, it's kind of a no-brainer, but it's Lamar going against our Vikings, and our defense, other than last week's game against Detroit, has really been not very good. We had the one good game where against the Bengals, right? But it's the Bengals.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of inflated our defensive numbers. I think I heard somewhere along the line that our defense against the pass has been like 25th overall if you take out that game.
That makes sense.
And I mean, with that game in, we're 17th overall, giving up an average of 18.75 fantasy points to opposing QBs. I think Lamar is going to have a pretty good day. Although I hate to say it, I mean, still hoping for the Vikes to win.
Right.
But
and it seems like in the past, I don't even know how many years. I know previous years really don't, matter to this current team. But the Vikings have always struggled against running dual threat quarterbacks. So I don't know if I really see much of a change this week as well.
Right. Good point. And so my sit-em for the week is Jordan Love. He's playing, Philly defense, who just acquired Jalen Phillips from Miami. And I think that could ultimately be a huge problem for the Pack. I would say sit Jordan Love because I think Philly's going to be all over him.
And a revenge game for Jair Alexander.
Yes, exactly.
if he sees the field. Okay.
Good call.
I like it, though.
Yeah.
Okay. This one may be kind of a surprise. It may not be. I would start Jordan Mason this week with the injury to Aaron Jones. I think he was still questionable last that I saw. And even if he plays, we know he's probably only good for the first half. That's just it. Right. He's going to get injured again. But Baltimore is 29th against the run. I know their defense has kind of solidified a little bit more over the last couple of weeks. But looking at how Minnesota played against Detroit, they need to establish a good run game in order to have J.J. McCarthy have any opportunity to pass the ball. And he still only passed the ball for 150 yards. But,
right,
if he's the main back against a shaky defense, this could be a good situation for Jordan Mason. So I kind of like the odds there. On the sit side, I don't really like the matchup for Krosky Merritt against Detroit. They're third versus the run. And Minnesota did look good against Detroit last week, but now with Mariota at quarterback, I feel like they're just really going to jam the box. And last time that we saw Mariota, I don't think that they performed very well in the run game. So I don't necessarily like that.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Not to mention, you know, Bill, as he's known, he has not really been that great. I really thought he was going to be a much better running back. Um, yeah, so I think that's a good call out.
What do you got?
So, my start of the week is going to be Kyle Mananagai from
Oh
from
that
Chicago.
oh that Manana guy, that guy.
Yeah, yes. Uh, Now I know that DeAndre, is it DeAndre Swift?
Swift. Yep.
Yeah, is going to be back. Um, but I still think that it's going to be a timeshare, and I think whoever's more effective is probably going to get the ball more, which he was very effective last week. Uh, yeah, I mean, he ran for 176 yards on 26 carries, plus three catches for 22 yards. I mean, you can't go wrong with that kind of production.
Right.
And he's going up against the New York Giants defense, that are allowing 22 points a game to running backs. So I think that this could be a big game for him.
Just a couple of weeks I heard on the radio from other analysts, and they were talking about how he could be a turning point of being the number one running back in Chicago, even if Swift comes back, that they're going to transition him and make Swift a number two, or, probably at worst be a 50-50, but then, this
Sure.
Manana guy, I just like that name. This guy, should be the number one back probably going forward. At least that's what the heads were talking about. So yeah, I like the idea there.
And so my sit 'em for the week was going to be Rashad White or Bucky Urban, depending on if Bucky was back, but he is out. Um, so they're playing New England. New England defense is third against running backs, only allowing 11 fantasy points a game. So I think this is probably a spot where if you got somebody better than Rashad White, to just stick him in there, because I think this could be kind of one of those trap games where you start him and thinking he might do something good for you, and
Yeah,
yeah, no,
probably at best you're looking for like a goal line touchdown to increase your fantasy
right.
points, but overall it might not work out so well for you. And I agree with you. This was actually one that I was had written down too, would be kind of anyone for Tampa Bay in this game to sit as well. So I like it.
Yeah. All right. So what do you got at wide receiver for me?
So this my I want you to know that my stardom situm rosters this week are not if you have all of these on the same team. These are all different options, okay? And the reason I say that is I have Jordan Addison starting against Baltimore because they have the 29th defense against the wide receivers. Now, if you had, and now you're saying, why would you start Jordan Mason and Jordan Addison? You could, but Addison has been very consistent. And if Baltimore does decide to double up on Jefferson, which probably throughout the game they will, Addison has gotten a lot of targets. He's still gotten some yards. He's gotten some scores. I think it's still favorable for him. So if we do open up the run game, Addison's going to get some targets here.
Yeah. I mean, and you said it. I mean, Baltimore's defense really is not that good.
Right.
So, yeah, I like that call. I mean, you're right. I think Addison has been getting good, especially when we get down into the red zone. It seems to be like most defenses are double teaming Justin Jefferson.
Right.
And Addison has been pretty good at sneakily getting behind the corners to where he can catch it, say, right on the corner of the end zone.
Yeah.
And so I like that call. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, and I hope he performs. I'm starting myself.
Right
on the other side, I haven't seen enough out of Chris Olave to say let's keep him in the lineup. Especially Carolina's defense has played pretty pretty great lately, actually, and they're
Mhm.
fourth against wide receivers. I don't trust anything on the Saints, and Carolina has looked good. I don't know what would tickle your fancy to say Olave is a must start. I don't see it.
Yeah, not to mention them trading away the speedster
Yeah,
Rashid Shaheed,
Shaheed, yeah,
yeah, to Seattle.
yeah,
So now you just took your somewhat talented wide receiver room, right? And now you took like the next best guy out of it. So it's
you made it an easy double,
exactly,
if not more,
absolutely,
right?
yep. Um, all right, so I like that call out as well. So my start of the week is Lad McConkey versus Pittsburgh. Um, Pittsburgh ranks 30th in the league. They're giving up 24 and a half fantasy points per game to wide receivers. Um, and when it comes to, he's just become the consistent starter there in, I almost said San Diego, but
Yeah,
in Los Angeles for Justin Herbert. And Quentin Johnston, he produces, but he's very spotty. He's like a home run kind of guy. So
mhm.
I think if you start Lad McConkey, I think you're going to be happy with the production he puts up.
Yeah, and he's a great route runner, so he's getting to be the focus of targets a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think against
Absolutely.
Minnesota, Johnston didn't have any catches. So you're right. It's kind of a Jameson Williams version of home run or bust. I know he had some nice games early on, but I think
Yep.
they're leaning toward Ladd. So
Yep. All right. And so my sit-em for the week is in that same game. It's DK Metcalf, Chargers defense. They're ranked second overall against wide receivers, only giving up a total of 14.89 points a game to wide receiver as a whole.
as a whole, yeah, that's
So I mean, it's not looking very good for him. And rumor has it that the Steelers were looking for another wide receiver to pair with DK right at the trade deadline. So what does that say about their wide receiver room as it is with, you know, Calvin Austin in Washington? You know, if they were looking for another guy to pair with him, it tells me that their wide receiver room is not very good, and it means that DK is probably going to get the bulk of the double teams, and so I think it's going to make it a tough game for him.
yeah. They definitely needed a number two receiver. I don't think
Right.
Austin is it. If they landed a Jacoby Myers, or I don't know if I would say
Right.
maybe Rashid Shaheed, but someone of that type of a caliber that was available in the trade deadline. I thought maybe they were going to make a move, but yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Funny, if they maybe would have just held on to a guy by the name of Pickens, maybe they would have been all right.
Yeah, yeah.
Anywho, so what do you got? What do you got for your start of the week at tight end?
Okay. I wrote down two, and I wasn't sure exactly if we would overlap on these. So I'm gonna give two on here just because I have them written down here. One was Sam Laporta, and that might be kind of obvious against Washington, being 27th against
Sure.
tight ends.
Yep.
But I went with a non-obvious as well as Hunter Henry. I think he was ranked 12th in this week as far as tight ends goes or projections. And I know it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
borderline in most leagues of a start sit, but against Tampa
Right.
Bay in that passing game that Drake May is doing fairly well with. Now they have a challenging defense that I feel like you're going to need Hunter Henry to perform in this game if they need a W. So I think he's going to get a lot of targets that, especially in the red zone, that you may not normally see just because of how Tampa's defense is. So
Right.
I put that one in there as well. On the Sidham side, I did only give you one, and this one is probably too obvious. I didn't realize the ranking after I had written it down, but Tyler Higbee, he's probably like a 20th ranked tight end, so no one's probably going to start him anyway. But if
Yeah.
you we're looking for an option, maybe not pick him up or something, San Francisco is pretty good against the tight end position.
Right.
And even in the red zone, the Rams are not really looking his way. Kyron Williams, Puka, and Devontae are taking a ton of the targets and plays.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I was gonna say, those between those three, I mean, there's not much left over for other players to get touchdowns.
Right.
So, and that's with Higbee, it's probably going to be touchdown dependent, right?
Yeah.
For him to actually be a producer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, absolutely, that's a good take. All right, so my stardom of the week is I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid. Had a big game last week. He's going against Miami. They're 27th in the league against the tight end, giving up almost 10 points a game, fantasy points a game to the tight end. And Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid have really built a good connection this year.
Yeah.
Over the season, now he has had this kind of up and down where it's like he has kind of a game where he gets like one catch for 25, 30 yards, and then the next week he blows up for 6 catches and for 70 yards and a score type of thing. But just on the average, he's averaging over 13 points a game fantasy wise, which is pretty huge for a tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, and tight ends have not been really producing much for you this year. So I mean, I would start him all day long against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So my sit-em of the week is also my stardom from last week. Is Tyler Warren, going against Atlanta, who is number one against the tight ends by far, only giving up 3 points a game to tight ends.
That's insane.
Yes, that's dominant right there. So I would say, risk averse. Let's avoid that matchup if you can. Understandably, Tyler Warren may be your only tight end, and so yeah, you might have to start him, but just be aware it may not be a good result. And so if you're desperate, like if you're in a guillotine league, there might be somebody out there, as a streamer that you could possibly get that might outperform him.
And not to mention, it's a travel game. They're playing overseas. So, could that technically be a short week? We haven't really seen, as much of these overseas games have been, we haven't really seen anyone really blow up yet. So,
right.
And this may not be the game to see it either. So,
right.
I don't necessarily disagree with you on the Tyler Warren. The only thing I would say is, it is hard to sit one of the top tight ends, but if you can't always perform as well. So if it's a matchup thing and you have someone else to plug in, it's a smart move.
Yeah.
So,
alrighty, I think that wraps it up.
That's week 10.
Yep. And so if you stayed to the end, please share, like, and subscribe to Couch Coaches, and that helps us out a little bit and help spread the word.
Yeah, do the things. We appreciate it.
Right on. See you next week.
Later.